On that day, when evening had come, Jesus said to his disciples, "Let us go across to the other side." And leaving the crowd behind, they took him with them in the boat, just as he was. Other boats were with him. A great storm arose, and the waves beat into the boat so that the boat was already being swarmed. But Jesus was in the stern, asleep on a cushion. And they woke him and they said to him, "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" He woke up and rebuked the wind and said to the sea, "Peace, be still." Then the wind ceased and there was a dead calm. He said to the disciples, "Why are you afraid? Have you still no faith?" And they were filled with great awe, and they said to one another, "Who then is this, that even the wind and the sea obey him?" The Gospel according to Mark chapter 4, verses 34 through 41. Well, this was the storm from hell, literally. I do not use words like hell lightly. I don't use swear words either. But these people in the boat, they were fishermen. They spent half their life on the water. They had been in many storms before. They were not easily frightened by storms. But this storm was different. It was far worse than anything they had experienced before. They were scared to death. They were sure they would all die. And here's Jesus sleeping peacefully in the middle of the storm. "Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing?" they ask. Then Jesus gets up and rebukes the wind and orders the sea to be silent. Now, please notice two words: rebuking, ordering the sea to be silent. These two words are echoes of a recurring theme in the Gospel of Mark. In the Gospel of Mark, the first public act of Jesus is the healing of a man who is tormented by demons. So listen to this. Just then there was in their synagogue a man with an unclean spirit, and he cried out, "Jesus of Nazareth, what have you to do with us? Have you come to destroy us? I know who you are, the Holy One of God." But Jesus rebuked him and said, "Be silent and come out of him." And the unclean spirit, convulsing him and crying with a loud voice, came out of the man. Mark chapter 1, verses 23 through 26. Did you hear that? Jesus rebuked the demon and ordered him to be silent. This reminds me of something that my neighbor does with her dogs. She has two beautiful dogs, a German Shepherd and a big black dog that I don't know what breed it is. Blaze and Magic, they are called. And they're really great dogs, but every once in a while, when they get riled up by something, they run and bark like crazy. And then my neighbor calls out, "Stop it! Be quiet!" In other words, she rebukes them and she orders them to be silent. Jesus uses the same actions and words when he confronts the demons. And even when he confronts the storm, he rebuked the wind, and to the sea he said, "Be silent." It is almost as if the storm is another kind of demon. And this battle against demons, all kinds of demons, that is a theme that occurs again and again in the Gospel of Mark. It is the first thing we read about when we open the Gospel of Mark. But do you know what the next thing is? Next, he gives the same power to his disciples. As soon as he has appointed 12 disciples, he gives them the authority to cast out demons. He is like a father or a mother who hands the car keys to the kids. So, what do the disciples do with this new authority? We don't know. I wish the Gospel of Mark would tell us more. Instead, we learn that they are jealous when they see others use it. In chapter 9, we read, Teacher, we saw someone casting out demons in your name, and we tried to stop him because he was not following us. But Jesus said, Do not stop him, for no one who does a deed of power in my name will be able soon afterwards to speak evil of me. And then, as the gospel unfolds, more and more people get to have this power. At one point, Jesus sends out a large group, 70 followers. He sends them into all the surrounding villages. And when their mission is finished, they return with great joy and they report, Lord, even the demons are subject to us in your name. So, with all this power that has been given to the disciples, they should have been able to handle the storm. But in the storm, the disciples are helpless and fearful and panicky, and they wake up Jesus and they say, Teacher, do you not care that we are perishing? And Jesus wakes up and says, Why are you so afraid? Have you still no faith? Faith in what? It seems that the disciples do have faith. They have faith in Jesus. That's why they wake him up, so that he can deal with the storm. But they don't have faith in themselves. They don't have faith that the storm will submit to them. They still don't believe that they really have any kind of power. That lack of confidence, that is the lack of faith. There's a great poem by Marianne Williamson. It goes like this. Our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure. It is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. We ask ourselves, who am I to be brilliant and gorgeous and talented and fabulous? Actually, who are you not to be? You are a child of God. Your playing small does not serve the world. There's nothing enlightened about shrinking so that other people won't feel insecure around you. You were born to make manifest the glory of God that is within us. It is not just in some of us, it is in everyone. And as we let our own light shine, we unconsciously give other people permission to do the same. As we are liberated from our own fear, our presence automatically liberates others. Marian Williamson. Do you believe that? Do you believe that we are powerful beyond measure? Well, I think it doesn't help that so many of the prayers of the church encourage a spirit of false humility. I'm calling it false humility because there is a place for true humility. True humility means that we are close to the earth and in solidarity with all living things without trying to control or dominate other people or the natural resources around us. But there is a lot of false humility in our traditional prayers, where we are supposed to approach God with a humble, lowly, penitent, obedient heart, where we are supposed to refer to ourselves as unworthy servants and miserable offenders. And sometimes I wonder if God gets just a little tired of these humble servants and their humble prayers and wishes instead that we would roll up our sleeves and get to work. God has given us amazing powers, a beautiful brain, creative thinking, problem solving skills, and so much more. What creature in all creation has been gifted as we have been? In Psalm 8, we read, O Lord our sovereign, how majestic is your name in all the earth. You have set your glory in all the heavens. When I look at the heavens, at the work of your fingers, at the moon and the stars that you have established, what are human beings that you are mindful of them, mortals that you care for them? And yet you have made them a little lower than God and crowned them with glory and honor. In all of creation, we human beings have been made a little lower than God. We have been given so many powers. And if we put these powers to use, we can do amazing things. Amazing things. In less than a year, the scientists developed a number of very good vaccines to protect us against this terrible coronavirus. And then others figured out how to manufacture it and distribute it. If we work together, if we put our minds to it, if we use the gifts and the powers which God has given us, we can accomplish so many astonishing things. Think of this little congregation, St. Francis, and how it took on the ELCA and ushered in a new kind of reformation. Think of the people during the AIDS crisis who decided to act up and demand government funding for AIDS research. There are other times when we are like disciples in the storm, when we panic, when we lose our confidence and we forget our God given gifts. Have you still no faith? Jesus said to the disciples. So perhaps another word for faith is confidence, perhaps even pride. Not the kind of pride that hurts others, the pride of racism and white supremacy, but a confident pride that comes from a sense of appreciation for all the gifts that God has given us. Today is the beginning of Pride Week, when queer people first began to speak from a place of pride rather than a place of shame. It was a hard won act of courage. It was an act of faith, if you will, in the midst of a storm of rejection. And so today we give thanks for all those trailblazers who faced the many dangers and trials and tribulations, who were often scared, but then they believed in themselves and they believed in God even more. These courageous people are our role models. They can show us what it means to act in faith, not in fear. Amen.